Disaster and Risk Management Fund. Bilal Sahab, IE, Mr. Bilal is an international climate policy and sustainable development professional with a reputation as a leading tech expert. He's currently the CEO of the National Disaster Risk Management Fund, and we look forward on hearing from him because his areas of core expertise are climate action, climate finance, and disaster risk management. I don't know, but you know, I used to watch a cartoon when I was younger, which is a long time ago. It was called Captain Planet. Or Captain Planet, aapki kehta tha, with your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. So
It's happening, but the most important question is how to measure it, how to measure the impact of these initiatives. So can you explain something about that, sir?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, first of all, and I would like to congratulate and I would like to really appreciate that a session is being held, though at the very tail end of the conference, such an important conference, but still a session is being held in ICAP and where the business leaders and the accountants and people from the accountancy world are gathered together. So a session on ESG or climate change or environmental social governance or CSR is being held. I think that itself actually demonstrates that how far and how much distance we have traveled and how neatly these issues and these concepts have actually encroached into the corporate world. So I think this is not a kind of an easy journey. It's no easy feat. So it's quite a remarkable journey which has been completed. But the journey hasn't really finished yet, actually. And there is still a very long way to go. I would just want to take kind of pick up from the earlier session, which was happening here. And one of our colleagues actually just sitting in front of me, he mentioned that he was actually trying to hire an accountant with the condition that who actually doesn't do the accounting. I think I'm sure that he must have found one. He must still be looking for one. But I think we have to move forward. We need to find the financial experts and the financial people and the business leaders who actually can look beyond the finance, or actually they can look at the finance from a very different perspective. The profit has a very different meaning right now, and we are living in a very different world altogether as well. I do not want to really talk a lot about international context, Paris Agreement, although that is my area of specialization. But within the specific the peculiarities and the challenges that Pakistan is facing, we are the country who are actually right at the front line of when it comes to the climate change. And although our carbon emissions are not really very high, and we are a minuscule contributor to the global emission, the kind of a budget, but still, when we look into it, I think most of the emissions, or the significant amount of emissions are actually becoming or being originated from the corporate world. So our industry is really polluted. There are many ways of measuring our carbon footprints or our chemical footprints or the water footprint. Regardless of the particular industry you want to look into, whether it's a textile, it's a chemical, it's a transportation or any of it, I think our carbon intensity, meaning the carbon emission per unit of the production, is extremely high. So when our political leaders, they go to the international conferences and say that, okay, Pakistan is being victimized and this is the mess which has Pakistan no contribution, but actually we have actually no role in the making of it. That is not entirely true as well. Yes, our role, our contribution might look actually very small, but our carbon intensity in terms of the manufacturing we does and the production we does is extremely high. With the kind of a growth patterns and the growth targets which we are aspiring for, I think this is going to be skyrocketing, it's going to be shooting very high. Now, so there is a very huge and a very important and critical role for the corporate sector to play, and that's why actually it's really should be appreciated that the corporate world leaders are actually sitting here and they are listening and they are willing to take some kind of action. So while we are seeing the shift, international shift in terms of CSR and the kind of evolution to the ESG and ESR, we're actually seeing a kind of a new kind of a dynamism which is coming from that perspective. the corporate world actually realized the importance of it, that they just cannot continue to carry on with their business without actually seeing that their social responsibility, the impact they are creating on their environment, on the natural resources, and it just carries on. And so the deurbanization has come actually quite a few decades ago. The next big challenge for them was how to reduce their footprints. And for that, they have to establish the baseline. And for that, they need the measuring technology, they need the measuring methodologies. Those methodologies do exist. There are many accounting standards actually, the quantification methodologies and accounting standards. Even in the accounting world, a new methodology, a new accounting standard have been introduced, and even in Pakistan they have been applied by many of the forthcoming those industries, especially the outward or export-oriented industries. So what we need to do is, I think there is a need for a kind of a knowledge and education and awareness which need to be somehow supported, and we know how to support that. I mean, the regulation has to support that, and then a number of other mechanisms have to come together. So I think the transparency is very important, accountancy is very important, regulation is also important. I think once the regulation actually is going to trickle down from Paris Agreement down to the level of at the national level, I think some kind of a mobilization is going to be happening, which we are actually seeing right now as well. So I think these are some of the measures, and we always have to look from an international perspective as well. The good thing is the corporate sector is very much new, and they are very much trained to do so as well. It's nothing new for them.
बस थैंक यू। डेवलपमेंटल जो हमारे गोल्स हैं वो उनके साथ भी अलाइन हैं, और दूसरा ये है कि वो प्रैक्टिसेस जो इंटरनेशनल बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस हैं वो उनसे मिलते जुलते भी हों। तो उस पर आप कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में क्या ट्रेंड्स अभी देख रहे हैं और क्या एडवाइस उनको देंगे कि ये दोनों जो एलिमेंट हैं वो कवर हो?
जी डेफिनेटली, आई थिंक जो आपने जो बात की ESG की प्रैक्टिस के हवाले से, जैसा कि मैंने पहले कहा कि वी आर सीइंग एन एवोल्यूशन, वी आर सीइंग अ न्यू काइंड ऑफ टेक्निक्स व्हिच आर कमिंग, न्यू मेथोडोलॉजीज व्हिच आर कमिंग, और बिजनेस कम्युनिटी एंड कॉर्पोरेट प्रैक्टिस जो खास तौर पर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वर्ल्ड में these are very widely being incorporated. The role of technology is becoming critically important in that. अब हमारे पास ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजीज मौजूद हैं, from a very kind of amazing technologies way all the way up to the remote sensing and the satellite based technologies, जिनकी वजह से हम जो बेस लाइन सेटअप्स और उससे रिलेटेड जो दूसरे प्रैक्टिसेस हैं ESG से, उनके साथ कंपैरिजन कर सकते हैं, इंटरनेशनल प्रैक्टिस के साथ कंपैरिजन कर सकते हैं। और आई थिंक दूसरा मसला जो है, एक kind of a little bit of an advice to the corporate sector in Pakistan is there is a kind of a trend which is fading out right now in the corporate sector, come up with a homegrown practices and then try to align it with international practices, which sometimes is helpful, but I think it shouldn't be advisable, because there are international practices which have been evolving over the time, and international community has been contributing to those, and they are widely accepted as well. So they should be utilizing those, internalizing those, and integrating into their own processes that will give them the wider and the global credibility as well, especially when you are actually looking to the export-oriented industries and the sectors. You have to demonstrate that your practices are aligned with the international practices as well. इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, उसमें UN के ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है, IPC है, जहाँ से आपको इस तरह की मेथोडोलॉजीज और टेक्नोलॉजीज और सारे एस्पेक्ट्स जो हैं वो मिल जाते हैं. I think this is what should be done as well. I just want to take a little bit of on the finance issue before I might not get the opportunity. So I think just want to highlight that climate finance is a very tricky issue, and since we are sitting among the corporate sector and the people who have the dynamism and innovation and energy and everything else, I think we shouldn't be really looking at least the business sector, the corporate sector in Pakistan shouldn't be really eyeing themselves up for the concessional type of the finance, even in the domain of the climate finance. I think there are mechanisms there which are market oriented, they are market based, and I think the business community actually should be competing for those kind of mechanism, and they should prepare and they should align themselves with those. Carbon markets are very well functioning for the last 25 years now, and the methodologies are there, mechanisms are there, and in many cases, several of the business opportunities within Pakistan, we in NDRMF, we are actually advising, working with several industry and helping them out how they can benefit their ESG practices, their emission reduction and other kind of measures they are taking, and then bring them into the carbon markets and benefits, financially benefit out of them as well as it serves their compliance purposes as well. जो कंसेशनल फाइनेंस है उसको छोड़ देना चाहिए. जो बलूचिस्तान में छोटा एक फार्मर है या जो कोई सिंध में एक कोई बेघर किस्म की कम्युनिटी है, तो उनके लिए ये फाइनेंस को छोड़ देना चाहिए. बिजनेस कम्युनिटी को अपने लिए कंपेटिटिव फाइनेंस और कॉर्पोरेट फाइनेंस वो सारे जो मैकेनिज्म्स हैं उनके साथ अपने आप को अलाइन करना चाहिए. जस्ट वांट टू गिव वन एग्जांपल. लेट 1980s में फोटोवोल्टेक या सोलर सेल से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस करने की जो पर किलोवाट प्राइस थी वो तो $200 पर किलोवाट थी. अभी वो 2.83 समथिंग है. So this is 98.73% cost reduction in just producing the electricity from solar. I think this is a very easy decision for all the business people, for all the corporate people, for all the accountants here. It's a simple math to do it. Why you haven't really shifted yourself to the renewables yet? You know, it's a extremely, incredibly profit-making initiative. But we are not really seeing that kind of initiative because of the government regulations and a number of other reasons as well. But I think the business itself can actually drive that kind of a transition.
Thank you, sir.
The CEO of National Disaster Risk Management Fund, Mr. Bilal Anwar, is at the right here before I actually said anything.